Have you ever been having a hard conversation, whether it was with your significant other, friend, family, your children, and all of a sudden you're not a grown woman anymore? You're 15, you're shutting down, you're shrinking, and you don't know why. Well, that's what we're talking about today in the release of the year of the very intentional me, you, insert your name here. So, who would have known that there's actually a term for this feeling that just strangely seems to happen in our lives? And it's called emotional stagnation. It's the idea that when we go through difficult seasons without processing them, part of us stays there. And boy, oh boy, did I begin to realize that I was still, parts of me were still stuck in places and things that I had gone through earlier on in life, in young adulthood. Um, and so, like, I can remember whenever I was a teenager, situations with guys, like a lot of the lessons that I learned about boys was that they only want one thing. They only want what's between your legs. And so I never really got the conversation of like, some guys can actually like you and they might even want to take you out on a date. They might want to pursue being with you. And this is what it should look like. And these are signs to look out for. Like, I wasn't taught that. And so I found myself in a lot of situations where I was manipulated or coerced because I wanted to say no, but because a person would continuously ask, I would give in. And that began to show up like in several different areas in my life as I got older because it also plays a role into people pleasing. And so if somebody asked me and I began to feel that feeling of like, oh, I feel bad or what's going to happen if I say no, I would immediately give in. Or there were times, and this one seems like so simple, but it's played out in my adult years where somebody could ask me if I like something. Like, for example, it could have been like a dress. I could have been asked, hey, do you like this, Aaliyah? And in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never wear that. However, I would see that person smiling and like they're so excited and happy and they really would want me to like it because they want to get it for me or they already got it and they want to give it to me. And I'd be like, yeah, I like it. The whole time I'm like, I'm wearing this one time and don't expect to see it again. But again, that played on later in my life because there would be things that, again, I might not have necessarily wanted to do, places I might not have necessarily wanted to go. And because of the fact that back then, that is how I responded, this is how I began to show up in my adulthood as well. And I could give so many other situations. I could talk so much more deeply about the areas where I have felt that emotional stagnation, but maybe none of those were your situation. But maybe you've noticed that certain conversations still make you feel like a child. Maybe the reason that you struggle to hold your ground is because there's a 16-year-old still inside of you who thought she never could. Or maybe there's situations that you aren't sure how to back down from because, we have those people that say, oh, you're always up for the fight. You always have something to say back. Like maybe it's because in your childhood, you always had to be that person to have a comeback, to have something to say, to fight for yourself because nobody else was fighting for you. I want you to release. And in order to release, I want you to answer this question. At what age do you feel like you got stuck and left a part of yourself? What age do you feel like you convert back to whenever tough times, hard situations come up? And then I also want you to drop that age in the comments. You don't have to give any more context if you don't feel led, but drop that age in the comments. And if this resonated with you, we are going to be diving even deeper into this, specifically with God, so that He can truly help us to release the parts of us, to release the things that we're still holding on to that we might not necessarily see. Because a lot of these things that I shared, that I began to realize that was keeping me in a place where I wasn't able to be bold enough for myself, where I wasn't able to have the hard conversations without shrinking and shutting down, it was only because He began to reveal it to me. And that is why we are doing the Very Intentional Me fast starting June 1st. It will be a 21-day fast where we allow God to help us recognize, release, and restore the very intentional me, you. Insert your name here. So if as you've been sitting here listening to today's video and you're like, I need to get deeper, I really need to overcome some of these things that are holding me back, then go ahead and go to the description and join us for the Very Intentional Me Fast. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to leave the comment, at what age do you feel like part of you got stuck? And then make sure you like the video and share with the mama who came to your mind. And so until next time.